It's the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
This is Kyle Hyman, and joining us to talk about the young adult ministry happening in the diocese, specifically some of the things that are happening in Fort Wayne, is Crystal Serrano. Thanks for being here, Crystal.
Thanks for having me, Kyle.
So, as a young adult yourself, you're working for the diocese in young adult ministry, but what has made you Catholic? What has either made you stay Catholic or brought you to the Catholic faith? Or what's?
Yeah.
Is it an event? Is it what's the trick?
Yeah. Well, for me, I kind of had my reversion in campus ministry. So for me, it was the day-to-day accompaniment with my campus minister that was really pivotal for me. And I think now, as a young adult, what's kept me here, I think it's been the community for me. I think that I've encountered with other young adult Catholics that have really walked alongside me to continue to develop as a disciple and follower of Jesus.
I think that idea, that community, is something we undervalue just in general, but especially within our faith, how necessary it is. Do you think it's even more necessary for young adults to have that community?
Yeah, no. I think one of the biggest challenges that we face in young adult ministry is we're dealing with this extreme loneliness that, we as a society are so connected now through social media and the internet, where it seems like we now have all of this access to social interaction. But young adults really now in this generation, I think we really struggle to form deep, authentic, true relationships. And so for my generation of young adults and the ones coming up, I think we're really just trying to develop that community of encounter, trying to refine that. And so I think community is the way in which we can encounter Jesus, because how are we able to encounter Jesus if we can't even form relationships with our peers? I think through community is where we can really, truly develop a deeper encounter with Jesus Christ.
So how long have you been in the position with the diocese?
So I've been here for about 6 months, so very new, starting really from the ground up in a lot of ways, because this is the first time that the diocese has had someone full-time doing young adult ministry here in the diocese. Yeah.
In Fort Wayne. And when we're talking about young adult ministry, who are we even talking about here? What are the age ranges for young adult?
Yeah, so I think that varies depending on where you go. But I mean, the USCCB defines it from like 18, I think, to 39. And it's really any single, married, married with children, divorced, widowed, anything that kind of falls within that spectrum of age.
And I imagine that's one of the difficulties of your position, ministering to young adults, when there's so many different categories and really vocations and places in life and scattered all over.
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge because I think everyone's kind of in a different place. You have, maybe from that 18 to 22 range where people are just still getting through college and figuring out what's next for them. And then people who are a little bit more established, people who are parents. But I think what we really try to focus in on our ministry is just to create programming that is going to really get at the heart of these young adults, no matter what state in life you're in. I think really anything that we're doing, we're trying to create an opportunity for young adults to share their perspective, because one of the things that Pope Francis has really emphasized in the new document that he just came out on young adults is this mentorship. So I think young adults, even though there's this vast life experience in this age group, I think that there's an opportunity there for other young adults to mentor these younger young adults, and for these younger young adults to be also able to share their experiences and their perspectives that maybe as we kind of enter into this different life state, we seem to forget about, or there's other priorities in our lives. So just, again, trying to create opportunities for people to encounter each other in those different areas of life.
So then what do you hope is the fruit of that?
So, I mean, I think for all of our young adult ministry that we're putting on, I think we really just want to create authentic community where people don't feel isolated. I think a lot of the times young adults have a fear to go to any parish programming or diocesan programming because they believe it's not for them. They don't identify themselves there. So we want to create the fruit of this is for people to feel like this is a place for me. There is something that I can come and learn and that I have something to give as well. So even in our Theology on Taps and our retreat that we put on, we have young adults who are part of the planning team. So they're the ones who are also sharing their experiences and helping to serve their own community. So it's a give and a take for any of the programming that we're putting on.
Well, is there maybe a better way for our parishes whenever we are putting on events and we do want the young adults to be a part of it? Is there a way that we can be more welcoming and make them feel like it is for them as well?
Yeah, I think the first step really is to, if you're planning a parish retreat or event, it's to invite young adults to be a part of that planning team. I think a lot of the times we have in mind like, oh, we're going to do this and the young adults are going to come because this is something that they want to do, but we actually didn't ask them.
Right.
They weren't a part of the decision. So I think that's like the first step is just getting to know those young adults in your community and finding opportunities and leadership opportunities for them to kind of plug into, to be able to share like, this is what we want. I think that's the first step a lot of the times.
We're talking with Crystal Serrano about the young adult ministry, specifically what's happening here in Fort Wayne, because this has been happening in South Bend for quite a while, and we're just kind of getting this ball rolling here in Fort Wayne. And maybe you can talk a little bit. I'm looking at the Theology on Tap meetings that you have coming up. I'm really excited about them, but also the ones that have already happened look like they were very successful. The pictures I saw looked like a great crowd. Looked like everybody is having fun. It's outside. So can you talk a little bit about what's already happened?
Yeah. So we've now gone through our first 2 sessions of the series. The first one we had Dr. Alex Gilmer. He's a theology professor at the University of St. Francis. He came in and gave a talk on Christian decision making. So, it's a lot of young adults
very
in
relevant.
this. Yeah, very relevant. Yeah. A lot of young adults are in this time of transition and really making these decisions that are going to kind of impact their lives for 10, 20 years to come, So really trying to focus in on that. And then we had Molly Roman also come and give us a talk on finding meaning in work. So a lot of the young adult age range, it's defined by work. We spend the majority of our day at work, and so how do we navigate these either challenges or how do we even decide where we're going to work, how we're going to work, and how do we bring the faith into that? And then for the next one, we have Monsignor Michael Hines coming, which I know everyone's super excited about. We have him coming to talk about how do we use our time, and so he's really going to focus in on that idea of where do we spend our time, very practically also. Is it on our phones? Is it Netflix? And how do we begin to manage and live a more balanced life? And how do we try and make time for Jesus in our lives? Because sometimes I think young adults constantly feel this, I don't have time for this. And so he's really going to talk to us a little bit more about that balance. And our last one, we have Father Jacob Meyer coming to give a talk on liturgy and mission. So he's really going to focus in on how does the liturgy prepare us and form us to go out and encounter, those on the margins or in our own communities, because the liturgy is really what is forming us and feeding us to go out then and engage in our mission as lay people, in a religious life, priestly vocation, whatever it may be. So, yeah.
And I've had a chance to sit down with Monsignor Hines and Father Jacob Meyer for kind of a long sit-down discussion, and both of them wish it could go longer. So it's so fascinating to listen to them. They're always got so much wisdom and stuff. When are those going to happen?
So we have Monsignor Michael Hines coming to join us today at O'Reilly's at 6:30 to come and give the talk on how do we use our time. And then next week, we'll have Father Jacob Meyer talking to us about liturgy and mission on August 13th.
And so this is a little bit different than they've done it in the past of having like a one per month you're just like pumping out a series every week.
Yes.
And then take a break.
Yeah.
And so what's the strategy with that?
Yeah. So the reason we kind of, I was kind of in that transition of, do we go and do a series or do we do these monthly sessions? So the reason why I wanted to, because South Bend does it this way as well, why I wanted to stick with the series model is that, I don't want that our programming or our diocese to become the main feeding for our young adults. We really want these series to be an opportunity for new young adults to come in and who maybe haven't really been as active to come and be fed. But then at the end of this, we really are trying to promote our local parish young adult groups that after this, that these young adults who have now maybe come and haven't been as active can now plug into our young adult parishes because that day-to-day accompaniment, that weekly accompaniment is really going to happen at the parish level. The diocese doesn't, in my belief, shouldn't be the main source for these young adults. So I really want to work with our local parish young adult groups to strengthen them and then also help to feed new life into their groups. Yeah. So that's kind of why we decided to kind of stick with this model.
And so what else besides tonight and then next week, the Theology on Tap at O'Reilly's, what else do you have planning? There's a cookout or a Mass and a cookout, so, and then a retreat.
Yes. So to close out our series, we'll have a young adult cookout and Mass, where it'll just be a time for now we've gotten to know each other over these last couple of weeks, and it's just for us to continue to get to know each other and in a more laid back feel, just eating and celebrating the Eucharist together. So once that closes out in January, we also are planning for a young adult retreat that's really focused on disciples and really building up these young adults who are kind of at a stage where they want to go deeper, right? They've chosen to follow Jesus Christ, and so what does that mean, and how do we do that? And then in the fall too, I'm working with a very small group of young adults to start a discipleship small group, which we call Intentional Discipleship Series, where we'll go through very practical evangelization skills. And then hopefully in the summer, we're also looking towards having an international young adult pilgrimage in conjunction with South Bend. So those are a couple of things that we're working on. And hopefully in the winter as well, we'll have another young adult Theology on Tap series.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to get involved or find out information, they just want to attend one of these or invite some friends, where's the best place to get in from?
Yeah. So if you want to get involved in any of these things that we're doing, you can contact me directly, shoot me an email, or my phone number is on our website as well. You can shoot me a text. Also, feel free to join our Facebook group. It's called Fort Wayne Area Young Adults. And then we also are starting an Instagram account, so feel free to follow us on any of those media outlets.
Okay, and the diocesan website, diocesefw.org/YAM, Young Adult Ministry.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Crystal, for sharing this with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.